I got asked this week, what would I do if I was starting again? So I kind of put quite a bit of thought to it, as though the house has burnt down and I've lost everything, and I picked a budget of £1,000. So that's what today's video is about. What would I do if I was starting again in 2025? So let's roll the credits and get into it. So I'm thinking about, I've lost everything. The house has burnt down. We've got insurance money. We're going to move into a new house, and I need to kind of get Home Assistant running again. It's one way of looking at it. The other way I'm kind of looking at it is, if somebody said to me, I'd really like to get into Home Assistant, I've got £1,000 to spend, what would I do? So kind of somewhere down the middle there, as though you've got nothing apart from a little bit of knowledge. So I'm going to start at the beginning. The thing that's most important, I believe, is Wi-Fi, because you're going to be watching the Wi-Fi on your phone. Tellies often use Wi-Fi to get data nowadays, so you need a Wi-Fi system that's good. So no going to whatever your service provider is and just using their modem. It's not enough. It'll go wrong. It'll crash. You'll get annoyed with it. Now, I've put on the screen a UniFi price list, which I just find scary. It feels way too expensive, because £1,000, you've spent it with your Wi-Fi. If you've got more than that, it might make sense. If you're going to do weird and wonderful things and you want all the menus from hell, it might work, but it's not going to be as good as other systems. It'll be the same, just more expensive. So I had a little look at the, it's called a MARDA, is TP-Link's version of kind of this, in the same range. So 2 good access points, a switch, etc., etc. It's a little bit cheaper than this, but it still feels really expensive. So what I actually chose after looking around was these TP-Link Decos. They are Wi-Fi 7, so the newest Wi-Fi. They will link together with cables. So again, you've got that speed there. They've got 2.5 gig ports, so they ain't slow. There's 3 of them. You get 3 of them for 230 quid, and they cover most houses. One can act as the router, the others can act as access points, and you've kind of covered everything for a reasonable price. They've got multiple channels, they've got quality of service, etc., etc. So the other thing on these is actually getting a switch. So instead of spending £300 for a switch, we're paying £69, and again, it's a 2.5 gig switch. It's going to be pretty good. So that's those. Me clicking around has opened lots of things up. So let's put them in on the price list. So I just need to open my Excel sheet and put the information in. So I've said 370 quid. The next bit is cabling for it. So this is Cat 5, Cat 6 cable, Cat 5, Cat 5e UTP cable. So I've said, I'll copy the price down now. I've said 40 quid. If you kind of looked around a bit and got a good deal, it means that you've got to learn how to put the end of cables on. It's not that hard. It's a case of getting things in the right place and crimping them up. It's an easy task. If I can do it, anybody can do it. So that's cables. The other thing that's needed is a computer of some sort. So I've just picked one at random off eBay. It's 150 quid. It feels a little bit expensive, but it should be okay. So that's that. The thing I'm going to point out here, when you look at things, they put a big thing about iCore 3 and 5 and 7. The thing to remember that 3, 5 and 7 are a point in time. So there was an i3, an i5 and i7 in 2018. There's a brand new 3, 5, 7 and 9 in 2025. So these numbers don't mean anything. You need to look at when they were made and kind of the stuff around the outside. So that's the basics done. We've got a computer, we've got Wi-Fi, and let's copy the computer down, and we've spent over half the money we were allocated. Okay, next section's going to be the home automation type stuff. So the next thing to look at is what smart home devices am I going to use? It's actually quite a difficult decision because it's not what smart home devices I'm going to use. It's what major type of system I'm going to use. So am I going to go for complete Wi-Fi? No, because it doesn't work with devices like sensors and things like that that run off batteries. They just die, eat the batteries and die really quickly. So I'm really left with 3 sorts, and out of those I'm really only left with 2, which is Zigbee or Matter. Matter is really clever, is really good, but it's expensive and you can't get everything. Zigbee's been around for a lot longer and you've got lots of things. I'd love to say Matter, but in this case I can't. So I'm looking at getting Zigbee kind of main infrastructure. Now I've called it lights in here. So going to go Zigbee. So I'm going to get a SM Light SLZ B06M. It's a Zigbee wireless coordinator and it's great. It can use Ethernet, use my cables again, it can be placed in the middle of the house instead of next to the computer. It's just going to work. So with Zigbee, I need to get dimmers because I want to dim the lights. I want the lights to go up and down. So I prefer modules, and you can put them in the ceiling or behind the light switch. It means that I can use standard light switches. That one's a 2-gang one, so somewhere where you've got 2 lots of lights, but there's a 1-gang one as well. So 740, 760 or 841. And I picked one of these. I don't really want to get them from, we'll come back to that in a second. I don't want to really get them from Amazon because they're kind of nearly twice the price. So I'm either going to use Banggood or I'm going to use AliExpress. On the screen, I'd recommend anybody that buys stuff to use Top Cashback. You don't get vast amounts of money back, but it's some pocket money. Everything you buy, you can get cash back from. So lights, that's one thing. The next thing I've looked at is the things I'm going to go with it. So looking at sensors. So the first lot, I like on-off sensors. So I'm actually thinking that I would need presence sensors. I would need temperature sensors. And I would need door window sensors. So kind of looking at those, they felt like the best thing. And I'm getting the same kind of setup. So that's the first lot. The second one is just the same kind of things. So making sure I've got some kind of interesting things here. So that means, how many do I actually need? Well, I've got a front door and a back door, so 2 lots of the presence sensors. I've got a fridge and a freezer, 2 lots of the temperature sensors. I've got 3 or 4 places that I need kind of movement sensors in. I've got a couple of places I need presence sensors, and a few more places. So I think I said 12. Let me just see what I've put in. I think I rounded up the price, knowing me. So covering, so that's the gateway, £35 for that. And next down is 6 dimmers, and then 12 lots of son-off sensors to cover what's kind of going on there. So that's that section covered. There was a few things that I looked at and thought, oh, that's a good idea. So to get, I think other YouTubers say wife approval factor. So these are soil moisture sensors. So they measure the moisture of sensors in your house. So I'd be able to tell she who must be obeyed, that plant needs watering. But at the same time, they've got light and humidity and temperature. So they kind of got a multiple task on them. So that was one thing that I thought, that's a good idea. And they're not expensive. And then the human presence sensor. So that's more than just a movement sensor. It's a device that can actually measure where you are in the room, which is kind of quite useful at times. So that's things that I could add on at the end, kind of if there's money left over. The next thing I looked at is kind of what extras should I get? So let's talk about extras. So what do I mean by extras? Well, I'm thinking things like smart speakers. And I thought long and hard, do I get Alexas like I've got now? Do I get Google Homes or Google Nests or whatever they're calling them now? Or do I get a Home Assistant voice systems? And I'd love to say Home Assistant voice systems, but it's not quite there yet. It's nearly there, but it's where I'd like to go because it's completely local. So what do I get? Amazon, or do I get Google Homes? I kind of can't decide. So I came to the conclusion, and I think it's the right decision, is I go for whatever's cheapest. And I don't get one now where I've got one of these Alexas in every room and sometimes 2. I get the minimum that's required. That's enough so I can go, Alexa, switch off the lights. Alexa, do this. Or, okay, Google. I've said the right words. He's jumped into life, so I ain't going to do anything. And get the minimum to do the voice communication. We don't use half the stuff that's in Alexa. It's all in Home Assistant. So cheap and nasty, with the hope that Home Assistant voice will get there. Okay, so that's one extra. I think I've included that on my data. So let's copy that one down. There's some other things that I didn't include, and they're kind of extras that I thought about. So if the money's available, it's nice to have Zigbee temperature sensors that you can see. So you've got to look at your phone. So when you go into the room and think, bloody hell, it's hot in here, you can look. So that's that one. Whether I need this is a different issue. I've got a Ring doorbell at present. I wish it would burn to death. It really is an awful thing. and it costs money every month as well. So I think what I do is I'd set up Home Assistant to use um, a reasonably good. I think Anki's reasonably good. Um, their customer service is brilliant. I'll say that, and get that at the front door, so I can kind of see who's there. Create a Zigbee button that people can press to come in, um, and just use that instead of spending lots of money on Ring or Blink or whatever system is. I think I could do a better job or as good a job myself. Okay, that's that. The other thing I think I might possibly need is some Zigbee plugs around the place just to increase the Zigbee signal. So that's that. There are some other things that I thought about. Because I've made Wi-Fi so good, I could get matter lights. Again, it really depends on how much money is left because they are expensive, but they're very good for what they do. Okay, so let's kind of do a wrap up and work out what we get first and where we're going. So quick recap. I think the most important thing to sort out is Wi-Fi, so you can get Wi-Fi everywhere and everything works. That's point one. Point two is you're going to need a computer, you're going to need cabling, you're going to need to make a decision, Matter or Zigbee. I kind of went for Zigbee because I don't think Matter's there yet. And then you need to decide what you actually want. I've got links to most of the stuff that I've kind of talked about in the description. I've also got a link to my mailing list if you want to be mailed the information from the videos that I do. No jokes. Yeah, no jokes at all. I don't send jokes. She doesn't want me to send jokes. So if you're not subscribed, if you could press subscribe and like the video, that would be great. And I'll see you on the next one. Unless you want to watch this one or this one. See you on the next one.